the true scale of our solar system. Welcome. As we drift together through the vastness of space, let's explore a gentle and peaceful journey into the true scale of our solar system. A scale that, like the quiet space between stars, can feel endless, expansive, and still. Imagine that this is not a race for time, but a soothing stroll, where distance stretches out before us, calming our thoughts, softening our breath. Our solar system is far bigger than we often imagine. Its true scale stretches so far that it is hard for us to grasp. Most people think of the planets and the sun as close neighbors, all bunched together in a tight circle. But the truth is that it is incredibly vast and empty. It feels like the space between everything is endless, like the soft gaps of air that surround us, where everything feels calm, slow, and peaceful. The sun, so bright and so constant in our sky, is much, much bigger than we usually think. If we could shrink the sun down to a size we can understand, perhaps the size of a tennis ball, the Earth would be far, far away, about 25 meters away, and Mars would be even further, as if the sun and Mars were separated by the length of an entire football field. This is the kind of emptiness that surrounds everything, this gentle stretch of space between objects. As we move through the solar system, we begin to see how small and quiet everything is in comparison to what we imagine. The sun, glowing quietly at the center, contains almost all of the mass in the solar system. It is more than 99% of the mass we see and feel. It holds everything: planets, moons, asteroids, and comets within its grasp, like a slow, steady heartbeat. The sun's size compared to Earth is so vast that you could fit over 1 million Earths inside the sun. But what's even more peaceful is the space between the sun and the planets. There is so much empty space, so much peaceful distance between each celestial body. We can picture the first 4 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, gently orbiting the sun, their paths stretching out over vast spaces. As you move from Mercury to Venus, the distance stretches out so slowly. It feels peaceful, almost serene. Between Venus and Earth, the empty space only grows. Venus is more than 40 million kilometers from Earth, and Earth is another 55 million kilometers from Mars. And yet, there is still more emptiness between these worlds. A soft silence, where nothing rushes or crowds. These distances, though vast, are gently part of the rhythm of space. Now, as we move further away from Mars, to the outer reaches of the solar system, the distances grow even larger. Imagine the quiet space stretching out toward Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. These outer planets are farther apart than we can truly feel, their distances stretching beyond our imagination. Jupiter, the giant, is so far from Earth. If we could stretch our legs across the space between them, we would travel more than 600 million kilometers. Saturn is even further, and then Uranus and Neptune, planets so far away, they are like tiny points of light on the horizon. The empty space between them is vast and infinite, with nothing rushing forward, only soft, slow, endless distance. Between these planets lies the asteroid belt, a collection of rocky bodies that, though scattered, don't crowd the space around them. They float in gentle separation from one another, creating more space. Imagine the emptiness around each of these objects, where they drift slowly, quietly, almost as if they were resting in a wide and soft sea of stars. Most of what we see in images of the asteroid belt is compressed for our understanding, but in reality, the asteroids are much farther apart, scattered like soft dust in the air. Beyond Neptune, we enter a space where the scale becomes even more incredible. The Kuiper Belt, a distant field of icy objects marks the boundary of the solar system. Beyond that, the Oort Cloud, a mysterious and gentle halo of icy bodies, extends out into the unknown. This is where the solar system's influence softly fades, stretching so far into space that it feels like it might go on forever. These distant regions are not crowded with objects. Rather, they are vast, uninhabited spaces, empty and serene. And so, we reach the edge of our solar system, where the quiet emptiness only expands. The Oort Cloud, though distant and abstract, is the final edge of the solar system, where the influence of the sun begins to fade into the quiet expanse of interstellar space. But even as we think of this farthest boundary, we realize that space itself seems endless. Beyond our solar system is more space, and beyond that, even more, stretching out in soft waves of calm. As we reach the end of our journey, let's reflect on what we have learned. The solar system, vast and quiet, is a place where distance is not just about size but about the space between objects, where there is no hurry, no rush. There is only the calm expanse between the stars, a silence where each object rests in its own vast space. We have traveled far, but we have not moved too quickly. The space between the sun and planets, the space between planets and moons is gentle and never-ending. The true scale of our solar system is not one of crowded worlds, but one of peaceful distance, where nothing is too close and nothing is too far. As we slow down, reflecting on the emptiness and calmness of our journey, we begin to sense the quietness of it all. The solar system, like all of space, feels serene and full of space to breathe. It is a reminder that in the vastness of the universe, there is room for all things, resting quietly and peacefully, where there is no rush and no hurry. Now, as we let our thoughts settle, let us remember the calm expanse of our solar system, the quiet spaces between each planet, the serene distance between the stars. We are part of something so large, so quiet, and yet so peaceful. The stars, the planets, the sun, everything is spread out across a vast, peaceful distance. And in that peace, we find rest. As we continue to drift slowly through the vastness of space, we move deeper into the stillness of the solar system. The more we explore, the more we realize how this tranquil silence extends outward, unbroken and untouched. The quiet stretches between the worlds, between the stars, and the cold, empty space that fills the void gives us a gentle reminder of how peaceful it all is. The outer reaches of the solar system, as we discussed, are not just distant, they are peaceful, expansive. When we think about the Kuiper Belt, or the farthest reaches where the Oort Cloud begins, it feels as if we are standing on the edge of the quietest place imaginable. It is a zone where the stars above seem so far away, as if even light itself takes a long time to travel across these spaces. The Kuiper Belt, filled with icy bodies, marks a boundary, but even here, there is so much more to space. There is more emptiness, more quiet, stretching out farther than we can truly measure. These distant objects are like tiny whispers, scattered across an infinite canvas. And the Oort Cloud, this ancient halo of icy objects, is thought to be the furthest part of our solar system, extending far beyond Neptune. Imagine, if you will, that these objects, though faint and distant, are part of an incredible, peaceful expanse, where the solar system's pull softly diminishes and the quiet of space becomes deeper. The Oort Cloud is believed to be a vast spherical shell surrounding the solar system. Yet the further we think about it, the more we understand that it's not filled with objects in a rush. It's a quiet, gently dispersed sea of icy bodies that drift in the vastness of space. There is no congestion here, just more room. more space. It reminds us that even the edges of our solar system are not boundaries, but soft, distant limits where the solar system's influence wanes into the deeper universe. When we step back and look at this entire system, from the gentle warmth of the sun to the farthest reaches of the Oort Cloud, we see how far everything is. And still, there is space between it all. There is distance between each planet, each moon, each icy object in the farthest corners. Nothing is crammed together. Nothing is in a rush to meet each other. The solar system moves as though it is suspended in a peaceful stillness, far from the noise of the world. This is the true scale of our solar system, a place where space stretches so far that even the closest planets feel distant. Mercury, the smallest and closest planet to the Sun, is far more distant from us than we often realize. And then, as we travel from Mercury to Venus, from Venus to Earth, and from Earth to Mars, the distances between them are so much more than just numbers on a page. They are reminders of how quiet space truly is. These are not just planets. They are islands in the vast, serene sea of space. As we drift past Mars toward the outer planets, Jupiter and Saturn, we see the quiet extend even further. We pass the asteroid belt, a zone of scattered rocky bodies, each one isolated in its own pocket of space. Beyond the belt, we enter the giant distant planets, Jupiter and Saturn, their moons orbiting far and wide, as if they too are part of this infinite expanse. And then, past Saturn, we reach Uranus and Neptune, planets so far away that their distance almost feels abstract. These distant worlds are like calm, glowing orbs, placed gently in the blackness of space, their moons quietly revolving around them. They are far, yet not crowded. Even Neptune, the farthest of the planets, is not a boundary, but part of an endless space that stretches beyond what we can see or feel. The farther we go, the more we realize that the solar system is not just a collection of planets and moons, but a soft arrangement of vast spaces. The emptiness between them is not something to fear, but something to appreciate. It is the peace of space itself. When we look at how everything is spaced out, planets, moons, distant icy bodies, we see that the solar system is not a crowded, rushing place. It is a gentle arrangement, a system of vast distances that makes space feel soft and endless, peaceful in its quiet beauty. And so, as we find ourselves now at the edge of the solar system, at the Oort Cloud, we realize that this peacefulness extends beyond the boundaries of our own solar system. There are galaxies far, far away, filled with their own solar systems, each one with its own space, its own quiet stretch of emptiness. Yet, even beyond those, there is more, an infinite expanse where nothing is hurried, where everything is at rest. The solar system, as vast as it is a peaceful reminder of the endlessness of space, where objects are spaced not by force, but by the natural calmness of distance. There is nothing to rush toward. There is only the gentle pull of the sun, holding everything in its steady embrace as everything drifts calmly through the vastness of the universe. Now, as we slow our pace, taking a final look at the peaceful distances that make up our solar system, we realize that we are part of this calmness. Our Earth, with its soft oceans, gentle lands, and quiet sky, is a small but important piece of this peaceful system. And as we rest, floating in this calm, we find peace not only in the space between the stars, but in the space between our thoughts. In this quiet, we can rest. In this vastness, we are at peace. The solar system, with its endless distances, its gentle distances, is not something to grasp, but something to feel, to breathe in as we drift slowly, softly, into the quiet of the night. As we continue, the quiet emptiness of space begins to sink in. With every passing moment, the vastness of our solar system becomes clearer, and we find ourselves gently drifting along with it. The further we go, the more we appreciate the soothing stillness between each planet, each moon, and each star. There is nothing here that rushes, nothing here that demands our attention. Everything moves, but it moves slowly, calmly, without hurry. The empty space between the planets and the stars is not empty in the way we often think. It is not an absence, but rather a kind of presence, a peaceful openness where nothing crowds. Between the inner planets, like Earth and Mars, the distance stretches far and wide, but there is no rush to close that space. It remains open, serene, giving each planet its own place to move through the stillness. Earth, floating gently in its orbit around the Sun, has its space. Mars, far beyond it, has its own. And as we move beyond the familiar worlds, we feel the calm deepen. The outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, are so far apart, so spread out in this quiet expanse of space. Their moons, large and small, drift around them in the same calm rhythm. Each moon, each planet, each icy body in the Kuiper Belt is separated by such incredible distances, but they are never truly alone. The silence of space wraps them all in its peaceful embrace. The Kuiper Belt, that far-reaching band of icy objects beyond Neptune, is not a barrier but a soft threshold. Here, in this region, the space feels almost infinite. Each object in the Kuiper Belt is scattered, moving slowly, quietly, through its own orbit. There is no rush, no urgency. The Kuiper Belt is a place of separation from the closer, warmer planets, and yet, even in its distance, it feels connected to everything else. The space between objects is not a void, but a space of quiet existence. And then, beyond the Kuiper Belt, we come to the Oort Cloud, a vast, spherical cloud that surrounds the solar system like a gentle halo. This is the farthest reach of our solar system, the edge where the sun's influence fades, where the stars beyond our system seem to wait, ever distant. The Oort Cloud is a place that stretches so far that even light takes thousands of years to reach its edge. But it is not a cold, empty space. It is a space filled with potential, filled with the quiet remnants of the early solar system. It is peaceful here. It is calm. And though the space feels infinite, we are not alone in it. The quiet hum of the sun still holds us in its gentle grasp, and we are part of this vast, slow-moving system. Even at the farthest reaches, where the space feels so large, so open, we are held, floating together, drifting in this quiet embrace. As we begin to turn inward, back toward the heart of the solar system, we realize that this vastness is not something we need to understand all at once. It is enough to feel it, to experience it slowly, softly. There is no need to rush. Each planet, each moon, each distant object has its place, and between them there is space, quiet space, where the stars shine softly in the distance, far away, but never unreachable. The peaceful rhythm of the solar system continues, with each object moving slowly in its own orbit, surrounded by the stillness of space. It is a system that is vast, yes, but also gentle. There is no hurry in the solar system. There is no rush. Everything moves in its own time, its own space. It is a gentle, soothing reminder that sometimes the greatest peace can be found in the quiet spaces between things. And as we bring our journey toward its end, we can feel the calm that this space brings. The sun with its steady warmth, the planets with their slow, graceful orbits, the moons that drift around them. Everything exists in a kind of harmony, spaced out, quietly and peacefully. The solar system is not just a collection of objects. It is a vast, quiet orchestra, each planet and moon playing its part in the stillness of space. Now, as we come to a stop, gently floating in the quiet of the universe, let us rest in the peace of the solar system. The emptiness we feel here is not empty at all. It is full of space. Space to breathe, to think, to drift. The silence is not an absence, but a presence, a calming presence that surrounds us. It is the vastness of the solar system, stretching out in every direction, but never rushing, always calm. In the end, we are not just visitors in this peaceful expanse. We are part of it. Our Earth, so small in the grand scale of things, is still held in this calm, gentle embrace. The solar system, with all its planets, moons, and distant icy objects, moves at its own pace, and we move with it, slowly, peacefully. As the solar system stretches out around us, let us breathe deeply, feel the calm, and drift with it, knowing that in this vastness, there is always space for peace. And as we rest, we feel connected to the stars, to the sun, to the quiet space between everything, where nothing rushes and everything exists in harmony. Let this calm carry you through the night as we slowly drift in the vastness of the solar system, floating in peace, space, and quiet. As we continue to drift deeper into the silence of the solar system, we feel a gentle peace surrounding us. This vastness, so incomprehensible to our everyday senses, is actually a place of stillness, where time seems to slow and distance stretches out peacefully. There is no rush here, only a soft unfolding, like the smooth flow of a quiet stream. We are part of this calm, not in a hurry to arrive at any destination, but to simply be here, in this moment, where space feels endless, yet comforting. We have already explored the outer reaches, the soft expanses of the Oort Cloud and Kuiper Belt, where icy bodies drift slowly in the distant quiet of space. But even as we begin to move inward again, toward the warm embrace of the sun, the distances between the planets remain vast, and the space feels as though it could stretch on forever. As we journey back, we pass Neptune, the farthest planet we've known, with its deep blue beauty. Neptune, though distant, still shares its space with the surrounding moons and rings, but all of it remains so far apart, so quiet, as though nothing is pressing in. This is the true nature of space. Space not filled with noise, but with a soft kind of waiting, a gentle existence. And then, as we near the gas giants, Saturn and Jupiter, we feel the distance grow smaller, but still immense. These planets, with their powerful rings and swirling storms, are much closer to us, but still, their size and distance keep them in their own serene corner of the solar system. Their moons drift quietly around them, their orbits expansive and slow. It is easy to imagine each of these worlds as quietly holding their place, suspended in the gentle rhythm of their orbits, never hurried. We pass the asteroid belt, which, though filled with rocky bodies, still feels serene. The asteroids are scattered across a vast empty space, and there's no hurry for them to meet. It is not a crowded space, but an empty, peaceful one. As we drift past, we are reminded that space is not only about size, but about the stillness within it, the spaces between the objects, the moments of quiet that exist between one thing and the next. And now we return to the inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. These planets, which may feel closer in some ways, still have vast distances between them. Earth, our home, feels grounded in its space, floating gently in the orbit around the sun. The space between it and the other planets is far too, And each planet exists in its own space, with no need to rush toward the others. Each one takes its time to move along its path, as though space itself allows for all things to exist peacefully, at their own pace. As we approach the heart of the solar system, the sun begins to feel more present, though still distant in its immense size. It is the center of everything, yet it too is part of the vast, empty space, suspended in a calm that is immeasurable. The sun's warmth reaches us, but it too exists in a peaceful dance with the planets, never too close, never too far. It is a gentle balance that exists between all things, warmth and space, light and silence. The true scale of our solar system is a scale of distance and quiet, a space where nothing is too close, nothing too far. And as we continue our journey through it, we realize that this space is not just a place where things exist. It is a place where things rest. The planets rest in their orbits. The moons rest around their planets. And the sun rests at the center, holding everything in place. This is a place where rest is as important as motion, where space is as important as the stars. Now, as we float back toward the tranquil embrace of the Earth, we find that the peaceful rhythm of the solar system continues. Even as we approach the familiar blue world, we sense that the vastness of space still surrounds us, quiet and expansive. We are part of it, but so are the stars, the planets, the moons. They are all part of this calm, this peaceful existence. And so we begin to wind down, our journey slowing. The solar system, with its infinite spaces and quiet distances, is not a place of chaos or noise, but one of harmony and balance. There is space for everything, space for the planets, space for the stars, and space for us. It is a reminder that, in the vastness of the universe, we are not lost, but gently held by the quiet pull of space. As we let our thoughts drift, let us rest in the calm of the solar system, the space between the stars, the peacefulness of the planets, the softness of the sun's light. All of this is part of the quiet beauty that surrounds us. There is no rush here, no hurry. There is only the vast, endless space waiting for us to drift, to rest, to be. And as we come to the end of our journey, let us remember that the solar system is not just a place in space. It is a space to be. It is a reminder that sometimes the most peaceful moments come not from moving forward, but from simply resting in the vast, calming spaces between the stars. Now, let the soft embrace of space continue to hold you as you drift gently into rest, surrounded by the quiet expanse of the solar system. As we gently glide deeper into the peaceful rhythm of space, let us continue to feel the soft embrace of the solar system around us. The quiet expanses we've traveled through are not just empty spaces. They are filled with the stillness that allows us to rest. The vastness of it all, so far beyond what we can see or touch, brings a sense of tranquility that grows with every passing moment. Now, as we move back toward the heart of the solar system, the sun becomes a soft presence in the distance. Its light, though distant, still provides warmth, offering comfort in the silence that stretches out. The sun, as enormous and powerful as it is, exists as a gentle force in the center, like a steady pulse. Never overwhelming, but always present. It is a symbol of calm stability, just as the rest of the solar system holds its place in the peaceful expanse. Each planet, each moon, drifts along in its own orbit, unhurried. Even when we think of the planets closer to the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, they are still separated by such vast distances that it's hard to imagine how far apart they really are. The space between them, though not filled with noise, feels full of quiet, full of peace. The Earth, our home, seems small in comparison to the solar system's vastness. Yet, within its atmosphere, we find the stillness of space is held in perfect balance. The air we breathe, the land we walk upon, the oceans that stretch out, they are all part of the quiet harmony of this peaceful system. Earth exists not in isolation, but in perfect relationship with the sun, the moon, and the other planets, each one moving through space with their own gentle rhythm. Even as we begin to bring our journey toward its conclusion, the quiet expanses of the solar system continue to wrap around us. The vast emptiness between each planet and moon is not a void, but a gentle cushion, a resting place for the solar system to breathe. Each body, each piece of the system, exists in a perfect, peaceful balance, gently separated but not distant in spirit. And as we move back through the outer planets, the giant gas worlds like Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, we feel the distance between them stretch out like an endless sea, soft and calm. There is no hurry in these worlds. They move through their space with the same grace as the smaller planets closer to the sun. The moons that circle them are like delicate dancers, moving in their orbits, their paths serene and calm, never crowded. We find that this space, this quiet, vast, endless space, is more than just a backdrop to the solar system. It is the space that allows everything to exist. The vast emptiness is a part of the system, just as much as the stars and the planets. It is what holds everything together in this peaceful, slow-moving dance, a reminder that the true beauty of the solar system lies in its emptiness, its spaciousness. As we approach the end of our journey, we return once again to the distant reaches of the Oort Cloud, where the solar system's influence begins to fade, but not its peace. The space is infinite here, extending beyond what we can see, a silent and peaceful threshold between our solar system and the wider universe. It is the final reminder that, no matter how far we go, the solar system remains calm, holding its distance with grace. And so, as we slowly begin to wind down, let us reflect on the true scale of the solar system, not in the size of the planets or the speed at which they move, but in the peacefulness of the space between them. The quiet, vast distances we've traveled through are a part of something much larger, something that gives us room to rest, to be, and to exist. Now, as we bring our thoughts to a gentle close, we can feel the calm of the solar system wrapping around us, holding us in its quiet, gentle embrace. We are part of it, just as the planets are, just as the stars are. The vast distances, the soft emptiness, are not something to be afraid of, but something to find comfort in. In this space, there is always room for peace. As we let go of the thoughts that have guided us here, let us drift softly into the quiet of space, where the solar system continues to move, but never in a hurry. It is a place of rest, of harmony, of soft distance. And as we float here, we are reminded that sometimes the most peaceful places are the ones with the most space. In the stillness, we find our rest. As we slowly approach the final moments of this peaceful journey through the solar system, we begin to understand that space is not simply a measure of distance, but a presence that allows for calm and rest. It is a vast, quiet expanse where nothing rushes, where everything moves at its own pace, gently, softly, never hurried. The solar system, with all its planets, moons, and distant objects, is not just a collection of celestial bodies, but a reminder of the peace that exists in the spaces between them. These spaces, so wide, so empty, hold everything in their gentle embrace. And in this emptiness, there is room for everything to exist without pressure, without strain. As we reflect on the quiet distances we have traveled, we realize that the vastness of the solar system is not something to fear, but something to embrace. It is not a cold, lifeless void, but a serene, peaceful stillness that surrounds us. The sun, the center of everything, shines brightly, but even its light is soft, gentle, never overwhelming. And each planet, from the inner rocky worlds to the distant gas giants, exists in its own peaceful orbit, as if moving through a calm, infinite sea of space. The quiet of the outer reaches, where the Oort Cloud stretches out into the unknown, is not the end, but the continuation of this peaceful journey. Space does not end. It simply stretches farther than we can see, and with each stretch, it gives us more room, more peace. The vast emptiness that surrounds us is not a void, but a place where everything can rest, where the beauty of the solar system is held in the stillness of space. Now, as we bring this gentle journey to a close, let us reflect on the calmness we've felt, the peacefulness that has surrounded us. The solar system, with its quiet rhythm and vast distances, is a place of balance, where everything has its space, its time, its own path. And within it, we find the peace that is always there, waiting for us to pause, to breathe, to rest. The solar system moves slowly, gently, and as we close our eyes and let the thoughts of it fade into the background, we can carry this peace with us. There is no rush, no hurry, just the slow, steady motion of the planets, the soft embrace of space, and the quiet distance between stars. And in that distance, we find our rest. Let the quiet of the solar system lull you into calmness. Let the peaceful space between the planets, between the stars, guide you into a deeper stillness. Here, in the vastness of the universe, there is always room for rest. And as we drift together into the peaceful quiet of space, we let go, knowing that this calm will always be there, waiting for us whenever we need it. Now, with the soft rhythm of the solar system in our minds, let us rest in its peaceful embrace as we float gently through the quiet spaces between the stars, where there is no hurry, only calm. Let the vastness of the universe fill you with peace, and let your mind drift as softly as the planets in their orbits, resting in the stillness of space. As we move forward, gently approaching the final moments of our journey, we can feel the peace of the universe surrounding us more deeply. The vastness, though seemingly endless, is not overwhelming. Instead, it is a space that invites us to rest, to pause, to take in the quiet beauty that stretches out in every direction. Space is not empty. It is full of soft distance, filled with the stillness that gives everything room to exist. The planets, so far apart, are each on their own quiet journey. They are not rushing to meet each other, but are moving at their own pace, each orbit flowing in a soft rhythm, never too fast or too slow. This is the true nature of the solar system, a gentle, unhurried dance, where the sun's light reaches far and wide, but it does so with patience, never hurrying to touch every corner of its domain. The solar system, though vast, is peaceful, with each celestial body, each planet, each moon, drifting through its path in the most serene way. Even the space between them, though it stretches farther than we can imagine, is filled with a quiet presence. It is a reminder that in this universe, there is always space to breathe, space to be. As we float in this serene journey, the stars above seem so far away, yet somehow they feel close, held within the calm embrace of the night sky. The soft emptiness that stretches between them is not something to be feared, but something to be understood. It is a space that allows everything to rest, to exist without the pressure of time or the rush of movement. The Oort Cloud, though distant, marks the edge of this peaceful space, where the solar system's influence begins to fade into the deeper, quieter regions of the universe. It is here that we truly understand that the solar system, with all its planets, moons, and icy bodies, is part of something far greater. And that greater space is not filled with noise or chaos, but with the same calmness we've felt along our journey. As we approach the end of our time together, we reflect on the peacefulness of the solar system, the quiet distances, the slow-moving planets, and the gentle pull of the sun all combine to create a harmony that is not defined by speed or size, but by space. Space to exist, space to breathe, and space to rest. Now, as we begin to slow down, letting the soft rhythm of the solar system carry us into the stillness of night, we allow ourselves to drift with it. There is no need to rush, no need to hurry. Everything exists in its own time and place, and in that, we find our own peace. In this vast and endless space, there is always room for rest. The solar system, with all its quiet beauty, reminds us that sometimes the most profound peace is found in the spaces between. As we come to the end of our journey, let us simply rest in this peace, knowing that the vastness of the universe will always be there, soft and gentle, waiting to embrace us. So now, as we fade into the peaceful quiet of the cosmos, let the space around us fill you with calm. The solar system, with its gentle rhythm, is a place where we can always find rest. Let go, feel the peace of the universe, and drift into the stillness of space. There is nothing more to do but breathe, relax, and simply be. This is the tranquility of the universe, and in it, we find the peace we carry with us now and always. As we continue this quiet drift, the gentle rhythm of the universe feels more profound. The peaceful expanses of space, stretching from the inner planets to the outer reaches of the Oort Cloud, are like the quiet folds of a soft blanket, wrapping us in a serene stillness. Each passing moment seems to stretch out infinitely, yet it feels as if time itself has slowed, giving us room to simply exist in this vast, calm space. The stars above, though distant, seem so close now, as if they are part of this eternal peace that surrounds us. And yet, even in their distant glimmer, they are separated by vast stretches of emptiness. This emptiness is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced, because in it, there is a kind of soothing freedom. There is no pressure, no rush. There is only space, quietly inviting us to relax and let go. The distance between each planet and moon remains vast, but it is not a cold, unfeeling space. It is a gentle separation, one that allows each celestial body to exist without disturbance. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, all floating in their own peaceful orbits, far apart but not isolated, each one held in the quiet, soft embrace of space. As we move further outward, past the gas giants, Jupiter and Saturn, and into the quiet reaches of Uranus and Neptune, the stillness continues. It is not a silence that feels empty, but one that feels full of space to breathe, full of space to think. Even the distant icy bodies of the Kuiper Belt and the faint, far-reaching Oort Cloud remind us that there is no rush in space. There is only a slow, steady movement, a constant rhythm that keeps everything in balance. In the farthest edges of the solar system, where the influence of the sun begins to fade, we still sense the presence of everything that has come before. The solar system stretches so far, and yet it is all part of the same quiet whole. It is a peaceful expanse that is both expansive and intimate, reminding us that in the grand sweep of space, there is always room for calm, for rest. Now, as we near the end of our journey, let us pause in this vast space, reflecting on all we have seen. The sun, glowing gently at the center of it all, the planets and their moons, each moving in its quiet orbit, and the empty spaces between them. All of this is part of a larger, peaceful system, where distance is not a barrier, but a space for everything to exist in its own time, at its own pace. And in this peace, we are reminded that the solar system is not just a place in space, but a space that holds us in its gentle rhythm. The vast emptiness, the quiet stillness, these are not signs of loneliness, but of calm. They offer us the space to rest, to breathe, and to find our own peace. As we bring this journey to a close, let us remember the softness of the space we have traveled. The vastness of the solar system is not something that can be fully understood in a single moment. It is something to feel, to experience. It is a reminder that even in the farthest reaches, the quiet is always there, waiting for us to return to it. Now, as we prepare to close our eyes and drift into a peaceful rest, let the quiet of the solar system fill your thoughts. Let the space between the stars, the gentle pull of the planets, and the stillness of the sun remind you that there is always space for peace. There is always room to breathe, to rest, to exist in the calm of the universe. So, as the stars continue their slow dance, as the planets orbit with quiet grace, let yourself be part of that peace. There is no need to rush, no need to hurry. Everything moves at its own pace, in its own time, and in that, there is the most profound peace. Let go of all thoughts. Let the soft space of the solar system carry you into a deep, restful sleep. As we approach the final moments of this journey through the vast and peaceful stretches of our solar system, we find ourselves in a space where everything slows, where time feels distant, and where only the soft rhythm of the universe exists. The solar system, with all its planets, moons, and distant icy bodies, moves in its quiet, constant orbit, like a lullaby that has always been playing in the background, just waiting for us to listen. In the final stages of this peaceful drift, we return to the central truth of this journey. The solar system is not about speed, not about motion, but about space. It is a place where distance exists not as a challenge, but as a comfort, a cushion of quiet space that surrounds each object, allowing them to exist peacefully, far from each other, yet never lonely. The sun, though far away, continues to radiate its warm, steady light. But even its brilliance is softened by the vast distances that stretch between it and the planets. It is a slow, patient light, waiting to touch each planet in its own time. And between these planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, the distances are not just numbers, but soft breaths of space. They are reminders that, in this universe, there is always room for everything, without the need for haste. As we move beyond Neptune and into the distant reaches of the Oort Cloud, where the solar system's influence begins to fade, the quiet stillness of space becomes even more profound. Here, in the outermost regions, there are no boundaries, no walls. There is only the gentle stretch of space, which continues to extend beyond what we can see, what we can measure. It is the ultimate reminder that space, in its vastness, is a place of peace, a place where everything is allowed to drift slowly, gently, without hurry. And now, as our journey comes to a close, we feel the weight of the solar system's vast emptiness as a soft presence, not something to fear, but something to embrace. The silence of space is not empty. It is full of peace, full of room for everything to exist, in its own time, in its own way. There is no need to rush, no need to hurry. Everything is where it should be, moving gently through the quiet spaces between stars, between planets. As we begin to slowly return to the quiet comfort of the Earth, we can sense the immense calm that stretches from one end of the solar system to the other. Even in the farthest reaches, where the stars themselves seem so distant, there is always peace. There is always space. Space to rest. Space to be. Space to drift slowly into a peaceful sleep. Let us now rest in this quiet embrace, knowing that the solar system will continue its slow, steady rhythm long after we have closed our eyes. The stars will continue to twinkle. The planets will continue their orbits. And we will continue to drift peacefully in the vastness of space, carried by the quiet calm of the universe. As our journey through the solar system comes to a close, we find ourselves surrounded by the vastness of space, embracing the gentle silence that stretches far beyond what we can see. The true scale of the solar system is not just about the size of the planets or the number of moons. It is about the peaceful distances between them, the quiet spaces that give everything room to exist without rush or pressure. These distances are not voids to be filled, but peaceful expanses that create harmony within the universe. The sun, at the heart of this solar system, provides warmth and light, but it does so softly, without overwhelming anything. It radiates gently across the vast distances, reminding us that even the most powerful force in the solar system can exist without haste. From the smallest planet, Mercury, to the distant reaches of Neptune, each planet moves in its own orbit, its own time, without urgency. The space between these planets is not empty, but full of calm, a reminder that peace and space are intertwined. The outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, drift farther apart, but the emptiness between them is not lonely. It is simply a space where nothing rushes, where everything has its place, and everything is allowed to exist in its own rhythm. Beyond Neptune, the Kuiper Belt and the distant Oort Cloud mark the edges of the solar system. But even here, space stretches far beyond our sight. The Oort Cloud, a quiet halo surrounding the solar system, reminds us that the universe is infinite. But even in its infinite vastness, there is a sense of calm, a soothing, unhurried presence that fills the quiet gaps. As we reflect on this journey, it becomes clear that the solar system's true scale is defined not by the size of the planets or the vast distances between them, but by the peace that exists in these spaces. It is not about filling the void, but about allowing the space to be what it is, a soft, gentle emptiness where everything has room to breathe. The quiet, endless expanse between each planet, each moon, and each icy body is a reminder that we are part of a larger, peaceful system, one where nothing is rushed and everything exists in balance. In the stillness of the solar system, we find our own peace. As the planets move slowly through their orbits, as the stars twinkle in the distance, we are reminded that there is always room for rest, always room for calm. The distances that separate us from the distant stars are not barriers, but peaceful spaces that allow for existence, for movement, and for rest. The solar system, vast and quiet, is a place where everything moves at its own pace, and where space itself is an essential part of the beauty and harmony of the universe. Now, as we slowly bring our thoughts back to Earth, we remember that the solar system will continue to move in its peaceful rhythm, as it has for billions of years. The planets will continue to orbit, the sun will continue to shine, and the space between them will remain just as vast and peaceful as it is now. And in this peace, we too can rest, knowing that the universe itself is a place of quiet balance, where there is always space for us to breathe, to exist, and to find calm. So, as we end this peaceful journey, let the vastness of space fill you with a sense of quiet rest. Let the emptiness between the stars, the gentle distance between the planets, and the slow rhythm of the solar system remind you that sometimes the greatest peace can be found in the spaces between, in the calm of the universe, and in the stillness of the solar system.